thank you so much for being here tonight. We are here at the beautiful Legacy Restaurant at Moxie Hotel in Midtown. It's gorgeous. And we have Ethan Slater, Alex Newell, Kirstin Maldonado, and Jessica Keenan Wynn. And we are here to talk about your Broadway debuts. Thank you all for being here. Absolutely. How did you get started in music or in musical theater in particular?
Theater, I think it started for me on like long family drives. We would listen to Les Mis in the car.
Yeah.
And Les Mis and 1776. Those were the two musicals of choice.
1776?
Yeah.
That's random.
My dream role is was Richard Henry Lee, I think is his name.
I grew up watching PBS, and whenever they had like encores on, I would be watching them. Or like just doing full-on musical numbers in my living room by myself.
Yes.
Which clearly I was terrible at, screaming at the top of my lungs at like 6.
Yeah. Do y'all remember the Disney like compilation albums? They were all like the different colors.
Yeah.
I was like always singing them, like God bless my family, because they were just like I would just repeat songs over and over. And then when I got into musicals, it was like me belting in the car.
Yeah.
And just for like I'd finish my like belting and then go back and do it again. My mom was probably like.
I was into like I started with like MGM musicals, like Judy Garland, you know, like, obviously like Wizard of Oz, but Meet Me in St. Louis was like and still is my favorite movie, and so I would just sing the trolley song over and over and over and over and
Your
over
parents
again.
loved you.
Mm-hmm. So much.
Oh my
They
gosh.
shoved me in performing arts camp. Like, quiet, sing out here. Get home and be quiet.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. What were the audition processes like for you? Did you feel something different when you were in the room?
I got the call because I had a meeting with our director, Michael Arden, years ago about this show. And I said to him to his face that the only role that I would ever play in this musical is Asaka. That's it. And then I get an email 2 years later for the first workshop saying, we want you to come in for Papa Gay. And I literally wrote back, absolutely not, I'm busy. Sorry, that was a mistake. We meant Asaka. And I said, I'm free. When you Somehow I'm free now.
I auditioned for this. I first went in for Carol. And so I sang like, Natural Woman and Beautiful, and it was really great. And I was like, I'm not right for Carol. Like, I'm definitely more of the other one. But I was like, I'll just go in because I'm diverse. I'm an actor. I can like do anything. And then I went in. They were like, yeah, we're gonna have you come in for Cynthia. I went, yep. And then I ended up getting it in an offer in Trader Joe's on 72nd Street when it was snowing. Yeah, I love having those memories of like when you got the call, and that's where I was, and I walked home in the snow 30 blocks, just be like, ah, and no one was answering the phone. It was very sweet.
That's what I was going to ask. Do you all remember when you got the call of, yes, this is happening?
100%. Yeah, I was on the train back to school. I was in school and I had come into the city for the audition. I was on the train ride back and I was like, wow, that was awesome. Like, I just got to audition for these really cool people and I'm never gonna hear from them again. And then I got the call and I was like, it was amazing. But yeah, I called my dad and called everyone that I could think of.
I call like my mom too. I like call my mom immediately because I mean I feel like the parents that like put you through this, like my mom was always like super dedicated to like was like so selfless and everything she could ever do and like bring me to. It was like she was always driving me and going everywhere, and so I was just like opening day or opening night of my show, she was like living her life. I was like I was like just getting over a sinus infection, so I was like drinking tea and like we went out afterwards because I had a bunch of people, so I was just like gonna like visit for a little bit, and she was like drinking champagne and was like, yeah,
so
I
proud.
was like so excited, and I was like, she's living her life right now. I was like, I am too, but just very quietly.
With my mother, I was fortunate. I was with my 2 best friends, and they were like, here's your phone, call your mother immediately. And I called her, and you would have thought that I told her that I was having a child. She was like, you've always wanted this.
Oh,
you literally
that's
always
sweet.
wanted this. And I've had so many amazing things happen in my life. And so on our opening night, I had press for like an hour. And someone was like, what are you most excited about? And I was like, seeing my mom, because I still haven't seen her all night.
We love you, Mom.
On the other end of that, my parents stormed the carpet where we were doing press, and security was about to remove them. I was like, those are my parents. They can come over, and I came over and gave them a big hug. It was really sweet, but I definitely saw them.
I definitely saw them. What is one thing that you wish someone had told you or prepared you about being on Broadway?
How hard it is. Like the truth, like it is a dream come true. It is a bucket list check off, but it takes a certain kind of mental, emotional, and physical health to do a show 8 times a week. If you do a certain kind of show, like I'm sure, like even in his case, like that is an incredibly demanding role. So like you become kind of an anti-social sponge. Like I didn't even mean to say that. Where like
That's true.
if you're taking in so much, you kind of need to like sequester
Yeah.
yourself indoors to like in order to then get up and do it again. And I wish someone had kind of injected that into my reality.
It's also being able to like someone to tell me it's okay to say no to things.
Great.
Yes.
It's okay to say no. You don't have to say yes to everything, because as soon as, especially when it comes to press during your show, it's like, hey, you sing Mama Will Provide during the show. Do you want to sing it everywhere around New York City as well?
Right.
At like 7:30 in the morning.
Right.
But and even not just only that, it's just like 54 Below concerts and Green 42 concerts and concerts here, concerts there.
Because the number one priority is the show, so,
Yes.
and yourself,
And just myself and keeping this intact.
I feel like it has been a really interesting learning curve, though. That's a good point, just saying that, like, knowing when to say no, and honestly just like learning how to properly take care of yourself fully, spiritually, body, mentally. Like so much of it is like a learning curve, and like moving out here like with the allergies, because we were talking about that earlier, and I was just like, one day it was 75 and I was like, wow, and then 2 days later it was like spitting snow on us, and I was like, my face is confused.
Also, someone saying it's okay to call out. It's okay to call out.
Right.
There's no prize for who's done the most show. When I got this job, I was like, I'm gonna make it to 100 shows without calling out. I regretted every step of that.
Yeah.
Because I got to my 100th show and I called out and I gave my understudy her birthday, and I literally was just like, it's okay to be like, actually, I can't make it today.
I mean, it's just a hard question for me because I feel like I've gotten a lot of great advice that I haven't taken because I just don't know what it's like. Like it's been really hard for me to hear advice other than just doing it, because it's totally different than even the great pieces of wisdom that people have told me. And then on this other level, I've just never been on Broadway before, so I'm just like so excited and like I can't. I'm like that's something that I'm still sort of like muddling through. So I wish someone had told me that taking advice is really hard. It's so hard.
I'm actually going to first direct this to you.
Let me put my fork down.
You just finished rapping Mamma Mia 2. Congratulations. High five for that one. Amazing. Do you think having a Broadway credit on your resume and having been on Broadway changed the way people looked at you?
I think I maybe had a leg up once I booked it, because I went into the room and like Lily James and Alexa Davies, who were the other two girls, they didn't really sing, and so they were like, we're on Broadway. Like it was the first time where I felt like, I'm used, like this is like my shining star, my little moment of like, I am proud to be like doing a movie while coming from this Broadway community.
I do feel sometimes that I'm now respected more, which is nothing that it's like not validation, but like people are just like, oh, you can actually do this. People do respect you more when you hit Broadway and you work in it, and because like you said, you're doing it 8 times a week. You're creating the same emotion, but differently 8 times a week. You are having the discipline to be there 8 shows a week, and you're doing something that most people want and can't. It's like where Broadway is like the Soho House of life. Like you have to you have to become a member.
That is.
Like there's an application process, there's all of that, and like that's what it is.
Oh my gosh. So good.
Broadway's the
Oh my gosh. Wow. Oh my gosh.
It's just totally new, and I think all the people that are in my life are like really excited about this sort of new chapter, and not just what it is right now, but like sort of what it implies for the future, and sort of what the next thing could be, which is something that I'm really excited about too, because I do want to do a whole variety of things. As I think everyone does, but this is like my first major credit. Everything else I've done is
And it's
off Broadway.
It's so major.
I had a teacher from like, I think like
lovely.
6th or 7th grade, who I haven't seen in forever, wrote a letter at the stage door, came to the show, and I got like kind of emotional talking because he was like, I remember when we were making like mitochondria cookies and like, and he was just like, I'm so proud of you to see how far you've come, and I was like,
worth it.
And so many like high school and community theater friends have come, and they are just like, this is so cool, congratulations. And like, yeah, out of anything
Everything
else,
else,
but
this
they
is
also
the
know
dream.
too that this is like, this
Dream.
is my dream.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
like the biggest dream ever. So it's just really cool, like the people that kind of come out of the woodworks that are just like recognize your dream
Right.
and go to support it.
Do you remember right before you walked on stage for the first time and what you were thinking?
Mine was not to fall. Only
Really?
because our
There.
entire set is made out of sand with ceramic tile underneath it.
Ooh.
So just the wrong movement and you're just toppling over.
Oh no.
So I was
Oh my
like, please
gosh.
just don't fall, because what you're not going to do is fall and just roll on the floor in front of everybody.
Yeah, I feel like every night I think, I guess we're doing this.
Yes.
Here we go.
Yeah, I think I was just saying my lines over and over and over and over again for the first scene, because my first scene, I don't stop. It's boom, 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 into a song, boom, boom, boom. So I was just like, and the show was all about pace. I'm like, okay, momentum, and just going over the lines.
Oh.
And then you get on stage and you're like, it doesn't matter. And you're
But I mean, initially, I think for my number, because it's so like prop based, it was like, don't punch the boxes, because before I had to like put all the shoes in the boxes, and I was like reaching for them really intensely, and so I kept like punching them and knocking them over, and like, so I was just like, I need to be coordinated, I need to concentrate. So
What has been your most memorable moment so far about being on Broadway?
because the moment you think rewarding, you think like notable, like I think like I could say like when Carole King came and saw the show, that was a big deal.
Yeah.
Or like when my mom first came and saw the show. Like there's so many like big moments. I feel like when you book your Broadway, when you make your Broadway debut.
yeah, I remember, you know, for the put, and I was like really like, I feel like green and excited, and like yeah, and like had all my makeup and my costume on and everything, and we turn around to sing, we're singing The Most Beautiful Thing in the World is Shoes, basically, and so I turned to the audience, and I'm like in the front, and so I heard all the voices behind me like belting, and we're singing about shoes, but I like, when I heard everyone singing behind me and like singing full out, it like made me so emotional. And it was like during the put-in, I was like, we're literally singing about shoes, but I was like kind of like crying and being like, the most beautiful thing in the world. I was like, oh my god, and it was like such a. I feel like that was like the biggest like moment.
It was opening night, and I just finished the number. Like I said, provide, hide. And all I can see, I knew exactly where my mother was sitting, and I see her stand up and then watch the entire audience stand up at the same time. And all I could do was look at Haley in her face and try my hardest not to sob. Because all I wanted to do in that moment was cry my eyes out, because you worked so hard to get to this one place and this one goal, and then you have your idols around you. Billy Porter was there, Titus Burgess was there, Jason Alexander was there. All these amazing people that I've looked up to my entire life are all on their feet cheering me on, something that I've done for them my entire life, whether I'm in my living room clapping after performance that I've seen of them on television or not. And to see my mother right there just be there for me, it was just amazing, and I'll never forget that for the rest of my life.
Oh my gosh.
Ethan?
Yeah, I feel like those are all just like, I feel like I've had slightly equivalent moments to those, and they're like so special. There's just so many special moments.
Yeah.
Like, I think the best moment happened right before opening night. There's like this bizarre hubbub happening backstage where people are like bringing you flowers from the producers, and like there are all these people back there that are like excited to watch you do your thing, and you're like all amped up, and everybody's like hugging each other. And then Danny Skinner, who plays Patrick, came into my room, and we like closed the door, and we had a little moment, because we've been working on it for 5 years together.
Oh, wow.
We were in the first workshop of it, in 2012, and we just like really quietly were like, hey, we're gonna open this on Broadway tonight. It's like, it's been a long road, and we really easily couldn't have, it's possible that we weren't going to make it, and we did. And we were like so proud of the show, and so proud of what we made, and proud of each other, and it was like a really special, moment to share with your best friend, and that was super cool.
Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so time to wrap up here. If you could go back to yourself, however many months ago it was, years ago it was, and if you could tell yourself one thing, what would it be before you stepped on stage?
I was very blessed. I felt really great about my opening, it was like such a joy and so much fun. I felt so great about like my song, like everything that could have gone well, like in that night went well, and so I was just like, yeah, you know, like so excited. But probably, I guess, just to slow down and relax.
I think mine is keeping hope alive, and not even and knowing that everything's gonna be okay. Because when I booked this job, I had come off of doing so much that I created vocal damage. So I have a pseudocyst in my right cord and nerve damage on my left. And the rehearsal process for me, even though everyone's like, you sound wonderful, you sound great, I'm like, this isn't what I normally sound like. This is me trying to figure out my entire new voice, this new thing that I have, and just trying to negotiate. So I remember walking in to the audition, singing the song in its original key, nailing it perfectly fine, and then the very next day I couldn't speak for a week. And then got into rehearsal, and the biggest letdown was when the writers look at you and say, so we're gonna take it down a whole step. And I was just like, huh, but I can sing it in its original key perfectly fine. And then I sang it in that lower key, and I was just like, all right, I'm bored to tears singing it down here. Can we do just a half step? And throughout the entire rehearsal process, I just kept, in the back of my mind, was like, I'm not gonna be able to do this show. I'm not gonna be able to do this show. I won't last. I'll never last. I'll never be able to do this. I'm gonna sound like crap and shit, and I'm gonna have to bow out before it even starts. And somehow I kept working at it, and I kept going through it. But if I could have myself had popped up in my mind like, keep going, I don't think that I would have freaked myself out as much and had been very insecure throughout the entire process, because that's what we would do press events. I was like, I don't know if I can do it, sorry. And so I would like, just do it and you'll be fine.
Not to piggyback too much, but like, just you can do it, because there's nothing quite like being in a rehearsal process and feeling like I'm not really sure I belong here. And you know, I feel like I've felt more and more like I belong over the course of, you know, workshops and things, but I definitely had in the back of my head that I was gonna lose my voice after 2 weeks, and the show is higher than I've ever sung before, and it's just like the whole time. And
and the added stress in front of yourself doesn't help.
No,
at all. That makes
worse.
it so much worse.
It makes it so much worse.
Yeah.
So like breathe, and also like remember things.
Or like this is the first time you're ever gonna make your Broadway debut, right? It's like this is your first. Remember this moment because it will never happen again. Like I got that at the like after bows, like, you know, and then, you know, whether it's your replacement like I was, like you are, like whether it's like you know you originate the role, like there's a point where it's like the entire community around you hugs you and you kind of take a minute to be like, right, that just happened. And there's a bit of me that wish I did that, you know, right before I stepped out of like, don't take this for granted. Like, remember, like, it's okay. Like,
That's so lovely.
Yeah.
Oh, that was beautiful. That was beautiful. Thank you guys so much for being here.
This was great.
Cheers to your Broadway debut.